Welcome to a segment I call Fact Check to Fact Check Mate. I recently went on a research quest with the help of my research assistant. I like to call Penelope Sciuto. Partly she reminds me of Penelope Garcia from the Criminal Minds series, and partly she reminds me of Abby Sciuto from the original NCIS series, and she's quite talented lady. But I want to tell you about some of the fun facts that we found about the former and current running Donald J. Trump to bring to light some fun facts about not only his tenure, but the tenure of other presidents for comparative values. And not just some of them, but there's a link in there that goes all the way to, 1786, where they began to keep the presidential records and itinerary and all of the White House records that are kept. A lot of people don't know are an hour-to-hour account in some places, all of their time. And when a president's in his quarters and having a little private time, they call this executive time. This is the equal of not at work. In the White House, but not at work. And I've come up with a total of 24 links altogether from government archives, news organizations, journalists around the world, from all the tenure that are all the 4 years of his tenure. And whether you like the guy, dislike the guy, love the guy, hate the guy, regardless, these are hardcore, irrefutable, absolute facts. These are all the links that keep track of everything from his day-to-day itinerary all the way to how many times he played golf. And if you really sit and read the whole thing, it comes down to he only spent about a total of 7 months in actual meetings, briefings. Most days he didn't think he needed to attend these briefings and meetings. He knew what was going on. Most of his time was in fact in executive time, upwards of almost 2 years worth of just tweeting and watching TV and making personal phone calls. And another, somewhere around 11 months playing golf. 300 and some times. Now, this is not to bash the man, but rather to take an extension of his own words, because these Republicans that he thinks is not a far enough right value, not extreme enough value, he calls a rhino, because they're Republican in name only. And I've taken an extension of that, since he couldn't seem to do the job of president and spent most of his time complaining about other people and tweeting stupid stuff, just rants and raves and what have you. He wasn't really the president. And in that, I like to say he was a pinto, a president in national title only. And not just any pinto, but considering the fact that he is documented with 30,500 plus lies, he's a broad pinto. See where I'm going here? Not just any broad pinto, but a 45 broad pinto. And whether you like it or not, the broad pinto only comes in orange, has an exhaust problem, it only runs on methane, and all of the dials and meters are in Russian. So I ask you this, after you look at this evidence, and I want you to really go over all 24 links and really look into them, because there's a lot of really interesting, documented, confirmed, absolute, irrefutable facts in there. Would you like this fraud back? The guy that couldn't even do the job? Think about it. Do you really want to hire a lying fraud twice? In my mind, I think not. But I leave it to you, the viewer. Go look it up. Every link is preset with labels, whether it's the golf, his time in office, and a couple are even from the National Archives themselves, which cannot be changed. And he asked for it to be, and they can't do that. They won't do that. No president can do that. That's an independent office. They answer to no one but themselves, and they make sure it's the absolute truth. So, ask yourself, do you really want to see the truth? And if you do, look. And once you find the truth, ask yourself, do you really want that again? And while we're on the subject, Ron the fascist, thank you for the new term. Do you really want that swine in office? The guy that's going to take all your rights away? Really? I'm asking you. You tell me.